What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. Alright guys, last tier list of all tier lists, and we're going to do this one a little differently, okay? We're going to do the full vehicle tier list, so now we can round out everything. I've done a tier list now for all PvE, PvP, bosses, FS up to +5 for the assist. Now we've done tier lists for FS from 0 to 40, and this one here will round up every character for all their vehicles. So this is going to be a big one to complete the actual list of all unit cars. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this off. And the way I want to do this, guys, I'm actually going to show you in-game the car descriptions, and then we're going to show you guys the tier list section of it. So we're going to start off with MH Ken, and we're going to read this off. Curse Nightmare passive. If the enemy team fails to remove Dragon Curse Rage before it expires, all enemies cannot receive healing or shields for 6 seconds. If your team successfully removes the curse before it expires, the healing and shields of your team increase by 35% for 12 seconds. That's 3 of 3, 6 of 6. If your team successfully removes Dragon Curse before it expires, the enemy team Dragon Curse expires immediately, considered a fail. So, if you don't know what Dragon Curse is, I'm not going to explain it. Please go back and watch my videos on that because it is a long explanation, but it is one of the best debuffs in the game, bar none. And with that being said, we're going to go to the screen here, and we're going to go ahead and actually put his tier on here, and we're going to do SS. Okay, sorry, I'm going to move the screen over here, guys. Let's move it here so it's on the same screen, so there aren't any confusions in terms of who's where and what's what. Let's go like this and this. Actually, you know what I could probably do? I could probably just remove this, go back to screen capture, and just do it this way. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let me move my, I'm going to minimize me because you don't really need to see me that much in this. Okay, so Ken 100% SS vehicle, so there's no question about it. Moving on to the next one, okay? So let's go to the next person, and that's going to be Bison. Alright, so Return of the Inferno triggers Psycho Absorb max level. Psycho Absorb is a C1, so the moment he does Inferno Return, which is his revival, he'll instantly do his C1 at the enemy unit that deals fatal damage to the target. The Psycho Absorb won't restore HP anymore, but and deals 25% less damage, but now it triggers every single one. So it's a free C1 every time he pops his Infernal Return of the King. So an amazing thing to have. If the target's HP is below 40%, the last hit of Psycho Absorb will execute the target, dealing additional soul damage of 194%, and it's true damage, by the way, so no defenses or damage reductions will affect it. Bison, across the board, guys, is going to be the best unit in the game, so there you have it. Easily double S on that one. Okay, moving over. Cammy. So this is the only reason why she's even good, is because of her cars, to be quite honest with you. Records any shock damage that enemy targets receive. When Elephant Dance hits, it deals additional true damage equal to 30% of the recorded damage, capped at 600% attack, and resets the record. Now the 6 car is what you want. Without this, she's mediocre. Increases the true damage to 60% and caps at 1,200% of her attack. So very powerful and extremely useful for her. It's the only reason why she's a top DPS, so that car gives her double S for sure. Without it, she's a mediocre character, quite honestly. So you need to have these 6 cars for her. Alright, moving over to Juri. While Feng Shen engine is active, each hit of the Juri super combo additionally converts 10% of the damage dealt into her HP. It's essentially a lifesteal. While Feng Shen engine is active, damage from enemy attack skills have an 8% chance to trigger Katsutushi, which significantly increases Juri's dodge and deals soul damage of 364% of attack to the enemy. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. In terms of actual car stats, this is one of the best ones in the game. So if you're going to use Juri, you definitely want to have this one up there. So we're going to go ahead and give this one an SS as well. Sorry, I'm going a different order here, guys. I'm going based on what my characters are. So where's Juri here, guys? Juri, where? Juri. You know. Another SS unit for cars. Okay, very powerful car. She becomes almost unstoppable in almost every mode, especially boss mode, which is what she's built for. These cars are like a must-have for her. Excuse me, guys. Alright, again. When taking fatal damage for the first time, Gen becomes invincible for 3 seconds of performed resolution, dealing damage to 700% of attack to the target with the lowest HP. If the target is killed, Gen restores 100% of his max HP immediately, but loses 10% of his max HP every round until he dies. Resolution will trigger the mirror image's corresponding skills. The skill image deals 100% more true damage until death. Okay, so really powerful. Unfortunately, he does die after 10 seconds, so that can't be avoided, just like the actual lore. So we're going to put Gen over here at S+. Very powerful because it hits the lowest target HP, so it can instantly annihilate somebody, giving him full HP back. for 10 seconds he becomes just a monster for damage. But because of the fact that he dies, he's going to go sitting in the S 1 second, okay? Next up, we're going to go with Rose. Rose, Rejoicing Fool. So when the life turret explodes, there's an additional 6-second healing effect. Healing HP equals 20% of her attack, which is unfortunately not very much because it's attack based, not HP based. When Destiny turret explodes, it deals true damage. Again, that's pretty decent. She actually has a really good one, but it's not a must-have. Really, the 3-star is good enough, but you don't need to go for the 6 for her. So because of that, we're going to give her an S+ as well, or Rose. But very, very powerful nonetheless, and the healing does help as an off healer, and the true damage from her explosion actually does help quite a bit as well because it causes a silence in the first place as a skill. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, let's move on to F. Blanka. Okay, for every 5 instances of additional damage caused with Wildfire, Fashion Blanka inflicts taunt on all enemies for 8 seconds and gains a non-dispellable shield equal to 30% of his max HP. Now the taunt here won't affect bosses, keep that in mind, it only affects enemies. Okay, now taunt will make them just do basic attacks, there's no combos, etc., right? So for 8 seconds, they're just attacking him aimlessly, unless they're immune to control effects. The shield itself is really good. If you're attacked while the shield is active, 100% of the damage is reflected back to the attacker. True damage, no more than 300% of Blanka's. Now this is going to be an S+ as well. It's not going to be a double S for sure because it's not a necessity for him to be more powerful. It just does make him a lot more tanky and does dish out more damage, which is what he's really built to do anyways, but we're going to give him an S+ there, okay? Moving on to Dhalsim. While being channeled, Yoga Tower increases flame damage and effect accuracy by 5% every second. If Dhalsim is in idle status after using a super combo or combo, he'll perform a Yoga Tower but won't gain penance stacks. Now this one here I'm going to just give an S. It's not the best thing. You do want the penance stack. Penance stacks are actually a lot more powerful. But the fact that he does gain effect accuracy every few seconds just being in that mode, as well as gaining, let's go back here, as well as gaining damage, flame damage, it's really, really powerful. If you put him in together with like Fei Long or with Flame Chun-Li, it becomes even more powerful, but it's not a necessity for him. It doesn't really do him too much of a damage increase, at least that I've noticed when I used it, so I'm just going to put it as an S. Excuse me, guys. Alright, Fashion Sakura. Sakura Hadoken grants fighter Dazzling Sakura, and Sakura Hadoken grants the most vulnerable teammate Dazzle Blossom. So these are all buffs that you're going to get the moment she does her basic Hadoken. So actually really, really powerful, and for that reason alone, she's going to get an S+ for this, because those are actually really, really good buffs. And that Hadoken she does is her basic attack. So normally she has to do a combo to give you those buffs, but just a basic attack now combined with the combo, they stack up really quickly, and those buffs are actually really powerful. So S+ for that for sure. Alright, let's go over to the next one. Mad Ryu. Every 20% of active lost HP, he gets permanent 12% damage resist, stacking up to 60%, which is really high, so he becomes a little more tanky. Once the total HP of the fighter has actively lost 100% of max HP, the damage they deal is permanently increased by 70%. So what this means, guys, essentially is he needs a healer. Without a healer, this is useless, because the moment he hits 100% HP gone, even with the shield, he's still going to be super squishy. So you do need a healer, but it's a very, very powerful car thing. So I'm going to give this one an S+ for sure, because Mad Ryu can dish out insane damage with those 6 cars, and I've seen him do it on my team, especially on Lightning Tower. So very powerful car system for him, and almost essential if you really want to keep using him past a certain point in the game. Okay, so moving on to the next. Sorry, where's that? There it is. Okay, Captain Guile. Allied fighters' range attacks have 30% chance to grant the Guile a Saber. Saber may stack up to 7 times. Let's be real. Guile's Saber skill is incredible. It ignores defense, and the fact that now other people's attacks can give him more Saber, and it does it up to 7 times instead of 3, is going to give him an SS rating. Extremely powerful, making Guile even more broken than he already is as a PvE character and a PvP character. So Guile definitely deserves the double S there, up there for sure. Okay, let's move on to the next. Oops, sorry guys, this is my loose stuff. Okay, moving on to the next one. Yeah, here's another one. When allied fighters' HP is below 40%, remove all armor energy and grant a dispellable shield equal to 10% of max HP. That one's decent. This is where it gets crazy. No longer remove energy armor when this effect triggers. Each sack of energy armor refills the super gauge by 50. So very, very good. Becomes a little bit more of a support car system, but nonetheless a really good one. So Sea Viper falls over to, I'll say, she doesn't need this, so I'm going to give her an S. because the cards just give her extra stats and buffs, but she does. This is by no means a requirement to have these things make her more powerful. So they're just good for support. It's a little bit of super boost, and it's a decent shield just to give her a little bit more survivability. But again, not a must-have for her by any means, shape, or form. Just again, it's good to give her the extra buffs and the stats, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next. Oh, okay. Increase the base chance to stun, but to 20%. The stun effect makes the target take 20% more damage. The stun effect makes target take 6% more damage. Now, I'm going to make this clear. This tier list here specifically is going to be for all content, not just PvE, bosses, and PvP. It's everything, okay? So there's a limitation to how good this is, and it's going to struggle specifically in boss fights because bosses can't be stunned. Hence, this effect cannot take in turn, right? So if they're not stunned, they don't get the 60% or 20% bonus damage. It's only for units that are stunned. So in PvE, this is going to be SS. In PvP, it's going to be SS, but in bosses, it's like a D because it doesn't do anything. So I have to balance it out a bit here. I'm going to go ahead and give it an S+ because of the two other modes. But unfortunately, when it comes down to bosses, it's absolutely useless. But you don't really use Zangief for bosses, so that's why it's okay to say that. But to increase the base chance further and then give way more damage, it's a huge deal. I'm almost inclined to do SS because of that, but again, because it's tier list that covers all content, I have to take into account the fact that he'll be useless in bosses with his cards. So if you guys are going to argue that one, that's the reasoning, so keep that in mind, okay, before you throw your arguments my way, because I know a lot of people will probably say something about this one. Okay, moving over. Elena unleashes Hurricane Tower 3 when friendly dies. They consider a trigger skill, may only be triggered once per battle. Unleashes Hurricane when the battle begins. This is considered a trigger skill. Okay, so one thing I want to note is it's actually not Hurricane Tower, it's actually called this here. Not Hurricane Tower, sorry, it's right here. Where is it? Sorry, it's this, Hurricane Dance. This is what they meant, where teammates gain 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds. So I'm going to say this right now, probably one of the worst ones, only because someone needs to die for it to pop once per battle, and it's only 8 seconds, and she does it once per battle for the first 8 seconds. By the time the first 8 seconds is done, first combo's gone, you may lose that combo, or you may win it, and you lose that entire buff. So she gets an actual pretty bad one here. So I'm going to give Elena a B. It's a decent damage. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give her a C. This is probably one of the worst card systems mechanics in the game right now, so she's going to get that for sure for the cards, okay? So we're going to move on quickly. There's really nothing else to discuss. 8 seconds once per battle if somebody dies, or 8 seconds in the beginning of battle, which again, a combo is going to happen whether you're going to perform it or they're going to perform it, and the buff is already gone. So not very useful. Alright, Cammys. After a combo spin is performed 5 times, regular attacks are replaced with combo spin. Regular attacks and combo deals, spin deals 25% more damage. Absolutely crazy for damage. So specifically made for bosses though, so I have to keep that in mind. She's not going to be as good in PvE because again, you need cleave teams, and because she performs so well in boss fights, I'm going to give her an S. But in PvP and PvE, it's really not that necessary because she's really not used that often in those modes. So I'm going to give her an S because if this is bosses, she'd be up here, but because we're doing all content, I'm going to put her in the S section, okay? Let's go back here. Excuse me, guys. Chun-Li. After a fighter lands 30 crits, the attack and crit damage of all allies increase by 15%. After the ally lands 20, it's 15% for 15 seconds. Just so you guys are aware how crazy this actually is. Probably one of the best buff cards in the game, so Chun-Li definitely gets SS for that. Nutty. Like, I've tested her out with the card system, and that buff is wild. When you put her with high crit units, they're going to just crit non-stop, and the crit damage obviously takes into effect, and everybody just does way more damage. So really powerful, super cool move. Unfortunately, I don't use Chun-Li that often, but I can tell you now, testing her out in the vehicle section, not the vehicle section, sorry, the trial and other places with her cars, you definitely want to get that with her FS30 to maximize her damage and everybody else's, right? Okay, Zangief. While super armor is active, the fighter unleashes Banishing Flat. That's his palm move, right? For every 16 hits they take, this is considered a trigger skill. Banishing Flat nullifies targets passive for 8 seconds. Let's be real. This is a wild one. This is one of the best moves in the game. I'm gonna give it an S+ though, okay? And I'll tell you why. A lot of you might be, well, if this is one of the best ones, Payne, why is it not SS? So here's the reason why. There's two things. Number one, it requires insane timing. Okay, number two, you require super armor. So you actually have to use his special one, right? His ult special, sorry, in order for super armor to stay active. or have somebody who can perform super armor for him for his 3 out of 3 card to work. So definitely powerful, but it takes away a little bit of your damage because you're forced to use him in a different manner. Now his passive removal is great, it lasts for 8 seconds, and it's probably one of the most broken things in the game, but again, it requires timing, right? So I'm going to put him in S+, but I think he deserves that, but that's as far as I think he deserves to go, just because of the conditions required in order to get the timing right and bang on. Okay, Decapre. Executing a target with the Guardian Mark will make other enemies fear, reducing their attack by 50% for 6 seconds, so that's really good. Problem is actually executing somebody. Increases execute damage to 400% instead of 300 and 800 instead of 600, so that's a lot better. That is what you want to see in Decapre. So we're going to give her an S on that. So we'll go back here, sorry. We're going to give her an S. So really, really powerful, very good. Unfortunately, she's just not used that often, but very good card system. Alright, each stack of Dodoronken additionally increases effect by accuracy by 25%. Each stack of Dodoronken additionally increases crit damage by 10%. This is really good too. I just don't see Fei Long being used outside of assist that often for me personally, so I'm going to go ahead and give him an S for that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give him, yeah. You know what? He gets an S because he has a stun, he has flame, and he has pretty crazy damage if you start building him up correctly. But he's better off as an assist for the most part for most teams. So I'll give him an S because it's a really good card system there as well too. Okay, move on to the next one. Okay, Dudley. When the rose hits a target affected by any control effects, it triggers Trigger Punch for every 10 seconds. Control effects applied by other allies also triggers this every 10 seconds. I mean, it's good. The 10-second intervals is way too long for each of those, so the downtime unfortunately gives us an A. So we're gonna go and toss that in there. You know what, guys? I'm gonna change Dhalsim Sakura to an A. Yeah, I'm gonna put Dhalsim. I've been thinking about Dhalsim Sakura the whole time. I'm gonna put an A in there. No, you know what? No, let's put it back in S+. She deserves it. She deserves it. She deserves it. The more I think about it, the more I'm conflicted by it. But I think S+ is the right place for her. Okay, Combat Guile. Upon entering the battle, the fighter gains 2 attack for every 100% initial HP, up to 50% of the fighter's initial attack. Again, it takes a little bit of time to build this up. Upon entering the battle, the fighter gains 25 HP for every 10 initial attack, up to 20% of the max HP. So one gives attack, one gives HP. Make him a little tankier, make him hit a little harder. Unfortunately, the ramp-ups never worked that well for me, so I'm going to go ahead and give Combat Guile an A. Not the greatest in terms of that, but still a decent vehicle for getting him up. And because he's a range unit, he's a little harder to kill, but people like Sea Viper and Guy are going to have a field day with him, so that's going to be a little tough for him. Speaking of Guy, each Shadow Slash performed increases Shadow Slash damage by 20% up to a total of 60. Guy will also perform Shadow Slash when a teammate kills an enemy, so not bad. Shadow Slash is one of his moves, so I'm going to give this one an A as well too. Not overly great to be honest, but not bad either. Alright, Abel. Gains a shield when deployed as a lead fighter. After blocking 2 hits, the shield moves to another teammate until it fades after moving 4 times. The shield can now move 6 times. Now this is crazy, guys. The shield is actually complete immunity to damage, not just blocking damage. Just so everyone's aware, it just makes everything immune. So this is a really, really good one as a tank. So we're going to go ahead and give him an S+. Because if you haven't seen this perform, I've seen it jump around and actually block damage for everybody up to 6 times, and it's just annoying as hell, especially with when you have AoE running and AoE just doesn't do any damage to anyone. It's pretty wild. So this one here we're gonna put up there for sure. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, winning the duel restores 40% of max HP. Winning the duel grants 15% attack and defense. Stacks it 3 times. Unfortunately, this is a really, really crappy one because duel isn't working that well. Number one, it doesn't work on bosses, so none of this applies. So we'll give him a B only because PvE it's not bad. PvP it's decent, but it doesn't apply if you're using him as assist, which most people will use him as. So we'll give him a B there. Not a very good card system for him. Okay, moving on. Adon. Each stack of grave injury applied by Adon additionally reduces attack by 7%. Grave injury applied by Adon deals damage equal to 8% of the current total HP of the target, up to 500 of 10 of Adon's attack when performing a super combo or combo. So really good car 6, mediocre car 3. We'll go ahead and give him an A for that car. The car system's not really required for Adon, it's just a bonus, right? So we did do a showcase on him. He's actually a really good character, but that's neglected quite often for everybody. But again, he's not really needed for his cars. His cars are just a bonus for him, essentially. Okay, Hugo. After receiving 10 stacks of potato, the fighter performs Megaton Press. This is considered a trigger skill, so Megaton Press is one of his skills. Trigger skill Megaton Press reduces target's HP, target's defense by 25% for 20 seconds, so it's not bad. I mean, getting 10 stacks of potato with his FS is really easy to do, but if you don't have his FS up, it takes some time. So we're going to go ahead and give Hugo probably where he deserves to go in the first place, and that's going to be a B as well. Reducing target's defense by 25% for 20 seconds is a long time, but it's not really that good either. So we're going to go ahead, if it was damage reduction minus damage resistance, I mean, that'd be way better. But defense it's not a big deal anyways. Okay, Soaring Phoenix. Every crit triggered by allies increases the fighter's damage by 5%. Stacks up to 7 times and lasts until the next combo or super combo. Crit triggered by fighters themselves grant 2 stacks of this effect. Each stack of the effect also increases crit damage. So insane. So he is incredible with the 6 cars. So we're gonna give this one an S. It does take a little bit of again building up to do, but crazy the amount of damage you can pull off when he actually is built up fully. So we're gonna give him an S there. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's go here. Poison. Dealing damage to targets affected by stun, silence, or freeze is a 35% chance to follow up with electric damage, dealing thunder damage equal to 37% of attack intervals of 15 seconds. Also triggers electric thunder when attacking an enemy inflicted with grave. So pretty much any debuff that's on there will do an electric damage of 372% for 15 seconds. And here's the problem: the 15-second interval is too long. Right? Great skill, to be honest, but too long. So we'll give this an A because of the lack of how long the intervals take. 15 seconds, I mean, that you can do that 5 times max in a fight if they can even be affected by these debuffs. Most of them can, obviously, including bosses like Armor Break. Weaken can be applied on anybody, but again, the 15-second intervals kind of makes it a little lackluster in that regard. Okay, moving on. DeeJay. Increases the effectiveness of any shield the fighter receives in the battle by 25% upon entering the battle, which is really good. Increases the effectiveness of any shield other teammates receive in the battle by 25% upon entering battle. So really good as well. The only problem is with DeeJay's his shields alone are affected by attack, but this means any shield, including Shelter, Abel shield, or anyone else who performs a shield move like Blanka, Electric Shield. So I'm going to put him in S. He'll make everyone else tankier, so that's actually not a bad vehicle to have. Again, not the best, but not the worst. So if you plan to use them with someone like Blanka, really cool, because Electrified Shield now will do 25% more than the 10% that it already offers. It will give Abel's a little bit more, and it also gives the Shelter move a little bit more. So a little tanky. You know what? No, you know what? We're gonna give it an A, just because shields are not as common. So we'll give it an A. I think an A is fair for that. Okay. Street Poison. Yeah, let's just this is gonna be useless. If there's only one enemy when the combo, which does a combo, the combos and skills do 35% more damage. So this is actually uses the super. So when the fighter uses super combo, the skills of the skill chain deal 35% increased damage. So it's really good for bosses. Like, it's really meant for bosses. If there's only one enemy when the combo uses super combo, returns 200 super combo energy. So this is really built for boss fights, and is absolutely one of the best things for boss fights, because every combo in the chain will do 35% more damage, and then gives you also 200 super combo back. So very powerful in that regard. But unfortunately, it's only really good for bosses, and if there's only one enemy left, right? So I'm going to give it another A here, only because of its limitation in terms of when you can use it. So that's probably going to be the most use of it is going to be in the boss fights. Alright, unfortunately here, okay, recovers 35% max HP. We just literally did a showcase on her. When a key flow reaches 10 stacks, it's only for the first time. It doesn't happen more than once. When key focus reaches 10 stacks for the first time, the damage dealt by friendly female fighters is 25. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think it's too much. Again, I use the word ramping up a lot, but that's the case, and I'm going to give her a C. To get 10 stacks of key focus and 10 stacks of key flow, to get those to take into effect, she'll be dead by then. Let's be real, she'll be dead by then. So that's the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the lowest mark on that one. But let's move on. The Honda. Upon entering battle, a bullet wall is created, blocking up to 5 range attacks, lasts for 12 seconds. When desperation triggers, it creates a bullet wall that blocks up to 5 attacks, lasts 12 seconds. So, it's okay. Right, if you don't know what bullet wall is, it essentially helps block range damage. We're going to give this a B. It only lasts for a certain amount of times. The actual effects have to happen once in the fight, so desperation happens once unless he's healed back to 30%, then he does it again, but it's just infrequent and too much RNG for it, okay? Let's go next one. This is going to be Yun's. Every trigger skill performed by allies increases the fighter's trigger skill damage by 5%, stacked up to 7 times, so very similar to his brothers. So if you use MH Ken, for example, or someone like Bison, very, very powerful. This can stack up real quick and do some pretty intense damage, so we're going to go ahead and give this one, we're going to give it an A. I think trigger skills are less common than crits, obviously, so we're going to go ahead and give that an A. One below his brother as usual. I think he's less powerful than his brother personally. Blanka, Electrify Counterattack reduces target speed by 20 for 5 seconds. Electrify Counterattack has 10% chance to inflict stun for 0.5 seconds. Mediocre. You don't really need this for him. So we're going to give Blanka a B. Not really needed. Let me see here. Is anyone, you know what? I'm going to give Guy a B. Let's give Guy a B. I don't think he deserves. I've been thinking about him the whole time I've been talking as well. I've always struggled with his. Vega. When Vega hits an enemy with Sublime Bleed in a melee attack, he has 30% chance to generate hurricanes that deal equal damage to all AoE. All melee attacks by all other fighters have the same chance to do to create these, so he becomes an AoE unit to some extent. 120% attack is very small. Really not required, guys. So I'm going to give him an A as well. Like, it's a nice addition to a single target unit, but it's by no means is a necessity, okay? And then last, let's see, we have a few other units left. We have 4 units left, guys, so let's go through them. I don't think I have, yeah, Akuma I don't have, but here he is. Gains 3% extreme upon entering battle, or 3 times extreme upon entering battle. After unleashing Shun Gokusatsu, receives 1 stack of extreme for every current stack of Conquer. Pretty broken. I mean, it's crazy actually how good that is. If you haven't tested him in trial, you can see it's insane. So we're gonna give him. I want to give him an SS almost. So he deserves that because it's pretty wild how much he pulls off with that. How much damage he can pull off because of those car systems. All right, let's go to Garage for him. Other teammates receive 75% of the healing from Fall and Black Rose. When other friendly fighters attack a target with Black Rose with a combo, they deal additional 12% damage. So that's actually not bad. That does improve him a little bit up the chain for his cars at least, because of the last one, the 6 of 6. So we're gonna go ahead and give him we'll give him a B. Just because Black Rose, I mean, it does apply pretty often, but nobody really uses him, right? So it's not bad. It's not bad. But I wouldn't go for it. T-Hawk. Garage. Upon entering the battle, the fighter gains one-time control immunity, which is really good, so he can't be stunned, charmed, etc. When the fighter is deployed as a leader fighter, other teammates also gain the one-time control immunity. So it's just a one-time, unfortunately, so not a necessity. It's just a bonus to have, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a B as well. And then lastly, Flame Chun-Li, which I don't actually have, but we can go ahead and take a look at hers in the gallery. And I think we've already done this, but we'll do it again. Go here, Bio Trial, Start, and let's go take a look at her car. Here it is. So let's go to Garage, here you are. So when a single enemy on the field has 25% flame penetration active, all allies in the field receive a boost of 25% effective accuracy and flame damage dealt to the rest of the match. The effect does not stack. When a single enemy has 50 penetration, all allies in the field receive a 100% boost to crit rate and flame damage for the rest of the battle. So completely made for flame teams, so that's going to limit her a little bit. But if you do run a flame team, that's freaking insane. So with that regard, because of the limitations, I'll give her, let's give her an S. Okay, so there you guys have it. That is the roundup of the tier list for cars. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Those are my opinions. I broke it down for you guys by reading it all out through game, but that's my suggestion in terms of vehicles and the tier list. Alright guys, this is Payne. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.